Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Live or be located as a neighbor. The neighboring house. A nearby object of the same kind. Fort Worth as a neighbor of Dallas. Be located near or adjacent to. Pakistan neighbors India. A person who lives, or is located, near another. Live or be located as a neighbor. A nearby object of the same kind. Be located near or adjacent to. A person who lives, or is located, near another. Exist or be situated within. Strange notions inhabited her mind. Be an inhabitant of or reside in. The people inhabited the islands that are now deserted. Be present in. Sweet memories inhabit this house. Actually being performed at the time of hearing or viewing. A live television program. Have life, be alive. My grandfather lived until the end of war. Capable of erupting. A live volcano. Possessing life. The happiest person alive. Elastic. Rebounds readily. A lively tennis ball. Be an inhabitant of or reside in. People lived in Africa millions of years ago. Support oneself. Can you live on $2,000 a month in New York City? Continue to live and avoid dying. The race car driver lived through several very serious accidents. Charged or energized with electricity. A live wire. Have first-hand knowledge of states, situations, emotions, or sensations. I have lived a kind of hell when I was a drug addict. Abounding with life and energy. The club members are a really live bunch. Charged with an explosive. Live ammunition. Exerting force or containing energy. Live coals. Highly reverberant. A live concert hall. In current use or ready for use. Live copy is ready to be set in type or already set but not yet proofread. Lead a certain kind of life. Live in a certain style. We had to live frugally after the war. Of current relevance. A live issue. Pursue a positive and satisfying existence. You must accept yourself and others if you really want to live. Exist or be situated within. Be an inhabitant of or reside in. This kind of fish dwells near the bottom of the ocean. Think moodily or anxiously about something. Originate, in. The problems dwell in the social injustices in this country. Come back to. Don't dwell on the past. Be an inhabitant of or reside in. Fill with inhabitants. Populate the forest with deer and wild boar for hunting. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. The goal intended to be attained, and which is believed to be attainable. The sole object of her trip was to see her children. A tangible and visible entity. An entity that can cast a shadow. It was full of rackets, balls and other objects. Be averse to or express disapproval of. My wife objects to modern furniture. Computing. A discrete item that provides a description of virtually anything known to a computer. In object-oriented programming, objects include data and define its status, its methods of operation and how it interacts with other objects. Express or raise an objection or protest or criticism or express dissent. She never objected to the amount of work her boss charged her with. Grammar. A constituent that is acted upon. The object of the verb. The focus of cognitions or feelings. Objects of thought. Form the boundary of, be contiguous to. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Extend on all sides of simultaneously, encircle. A decorative recessed or relieved surface on an edge. Provide with a border or edge. A line that indicates a boundary. Enclose in or as if in a frame. The boundary of a surface. The boundary line or the area immediately inside the boundary. A strip forming the outer edge of something. The rug had a wide blue border. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Canada adjoins the U.S. Be in direct physical contact with, make contact. Attach or add. I adjoin a copy of your my lawyer's letter. A victim of ridicule or pranks. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. A joint made by fastening ends together without overlapping. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Thick end of the handle. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. He deserves a good kick in the butt. To strike, thrust or shove against. He butted his sister out of the way. The small unused part of something, especially the end of a cigarette that is left after smoking. Sports equipment consisting of an object set up for a marksman or archer to aim at. A large cask, especially one holding a volume equivalent to 2 hogsheads or 126 gallons. Place end to end without overlapping. The frames must be butted at the joints. The part of a plant from which the roots spring or the part of a stalk or trunk nearest the roots. Collide violently with an obstacle. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. The attribute of urgency in tone of voice. His voice had an edge to it. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Advance slowly, as if by inches. He edged towards the car. Provide with a border or edge. Edge the tablecloth with embroidery. The boundary of a surface. A line determining the limits of an area. A sharp side formed by the intersection of 2 surfaces of an object. He rounded the edges of the box. A slight competitive advantage. He had an edge on the competition. Provide with an edge. Edge a blade. The outside limit of an object or area or surface. A place farthest away from the center of something. The edge of the leaf is wavy. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. England marches with Scotland. The act of marching, walking with regular steps, especially in a procession of some kind. It was a long march. The month following February and preceding April. March in a procession. Walk ostentatiously. A degree granted for the successful completion of advanced study of architecture. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The Welsh marches between England and Wales. Genre of music written for marching. Sousa wrote the best marches. March in protest. Take part in a demonstration. A procession of people walking together. The march went up Fifth Avenue. A steady advance. The march of science. Cause to march or go at a marching pace. They marched the mules into the desert. Force to march. The Japanese marched their prisoners through Manchuria. Walk fast, with regular or measured steps. Walk with a stride. He marched into the classroom and announced the exam. A human being. There was too much for one person to do. A grammatical category used in the classification of pronouns, possessive determiners, and verb forms according to whether they indicate the speaker, the addressee, or a third party. Stop talking about yourself in the third person. A human body, usually including the clothing. A weapon was hidden on his person. A human being. A human being. Causing or capable of causing death. Mortal combat. A human being. Involving loss of divine grace or spiritual death. Subject to death. Mortal beings. Unrelenting and deadly. Mortal enemy. The immaterial part of a person, the actuating cause of an individual life. Deep feeling or emotion. A human being. A secular form of gospel that was a major black musical genre in the 1960s and 1970s. Soul was politically significant during the civil rights movement. The human embodiment of something. The soul of honor. Characteristic of or meant for a single person or thing. An individual serving. Being or characteristic of a single thing or person. Individual drops of rain. A human being. Separate and distinct from others of the same kind. Mark the individual pages. Concerning one person exclusively. We all have individual cars. A single organism.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.